Thanks for staying with us. So our guest today is Senator Musa Mohammed from Niger East Senatorial District. He'll be discussing the state of the nation, most especially the grey areas and the technicalities concerning the passage of the Electoral Amendment Bill. Recall, yesterday we discussed the issues surrounding the Electoral Bill. The senator we had yesterday, Senator Sejus Oguns, was saying he was against the fact that they didn't want the Electoral Amendment Bill to be put together without the NCC's approval. Right? That was the contention yesterday. But our guest today is amongst those who are saying there are certain areas that don't have network, and we cannot, because of that, go ahead with the Electoral Amendment Bill. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, good to have you on now.
Are you up to me,
Yes.
Senator Musa?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Yes, we're with you now. So I was going to talk to you concerning the Electoral Bill. What are your own thoughts and what are your own reservations about this bill coming through?
Yeah, I said thank you very much for wanting to hear my view on the issue of the Electoral Acts Amendment Bill, which we have just passed at the National Assembly. As part of our constitutional responsibility, I think we ought to do the needful. And we cannot all be perfect. Members of National Assembly are all Nigerians like you, and we are representing every Nigerian there. And whatever we do, we consider the interests of Nigeria first. We are not there to make laws for any sentiments, but we are there to make laws that will work for the country, for the good of the country. And that is what we have done, especially in the issue of the Electoral Amendment Act. Let me first and foremost tell you that no senator is against the electronic voting or electronic transmission of results. No senator is against it. But majority of the senators felt that, look, if we are going to do transmission, a situation where if you look at the NCC data, you will see that there are some areas that have more advantage in terms of getting coverage, network coverage, and compared to others that don't even have. And just recently, I had the telecoms and INEC saying they can transmit results from everywhere. I challenge them to saying that what they are saying is not true, because even in my constituency, I know of many wards, many locations that you can hardly get access to internet. But if they tell me that, yes, we are going to collect results electronically in our system, and when we get to collection center, or when we get to local government area, or when we get to an area where there's network, we can transmit that. I will agree, but that means it's not done on the spot, because what we need is a result directly from the spot where the votes were casted. And then another thing I believe is that what we did at the Senate is that we considered, if you look at Lagos, almost everywhere within Lagos will have network. Go to other areas in the southeast, you will see that because of the proximity they have with areas that these infrastructures are, they don't have any problem. So we consider that we don't want any area to be disadvantaged. Okay. If you look at the riverine areas in the south as well, there are areas that when you go, you cannot have the 3G network. You can't have 3G network.
Let me pause you for a second.
And when you have 3G network, you'll be able to transmit by SMS. But when you are talking about full data, like what INEC did in Edo State, they used the Z-tabs to take picture of the result sheets and then transmit it. So, I don't see any reason why people would feel the Senate does not want it. Yeah.
I have a lot of questions for you, sir. So let me get a few more into. Go ahead, Tokwe.
So yesterday we had a conversation, sir, with another of your colleagues, and the issue of 5%, the host community's request for 5%, the fact that the House of Representatives passed 5%, the Senate disagreed and maintained 3%. What was your own decision? Where did you lean towards, and why did you lean on that side?
The Senate was guided by the report of experts, by the report of technical team from the NNPC and the Ministry of Petroleum. They have advised the country that if we want to encourage investors, then we must be sure that we give laws that will also be beneficial to those investors that will come to this country. For the past 5 to 10 years, any real investment went into the oil sector in this country. Go to Angola, go to Gabon, in all African countries. Go and see how investors in the oil sectors have done so much in those countries, and we did not actually benefit from that. Why? It's because we lack the legislation that will encourage them to come. And now, when we start coming to be very sentimental about the issues of how we run the affairs of the oil-producing communities, I think we have ourselves also to blame, because if the federal government or the Nigerian government decided that, look, 13% of the reservation will go to the oil-producing communities in this country, then the creation of Ministry of Niger Delta, then the creation of NDDC, or UNPADEC, NDDC, I think there's so much to have been seen that has been done with all these resources that have gone to the Niger Delta oil-producing areas. I'm not against it. No senator is against that. But based on the advice from NNPC, where they said anything more than 3% will be very hard for these investors to take, because it's going to be given up from the cost of their production. So if that is the case, why don't we look at it? And then over time, when they have come in and invested, over time, now we can come and amend those legislation with a view to increasing it higher.
Right.
And that is the real thing.
Right.
But people have made it look so sentimental, as if because it is the North. But the North also have benefited. Every part of Nigeria have benefited from the frontier. From the frontier, their bases, frontier bases. There is an allocation for that. And if you have oil anywhere in Nigeria, it's for Nigerians. It's not meant for those people in those communities. But we know the degradation going on in those producing communities. But I have also to blame the leaders of those areas, because so much investment in terms of resources have been allocated to them. What have they done with this allocation? I think the people in those communities need to wake up, to challenge their leaders, to do the needful, because they don't do the needful. And we need to say it out.
All right, let me go on a quick break. There's so much to talk to you about. Let's go on a break. We'll come back and review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the senator with us. Senator, YK has a question for you. Go ahead, YK.
You just said the people of the Niger Delta should hold their people accountable, their leaders accountable. I would have said you should say it is the government they should hold accountable, because it was the government that puts the money in the hands of those people and did not ensure that the money was spent well. The money was spent to restore the communities.
Thank you very much. When you said hold government responsible, who are you holding in government?
Federal government.
There are people that have been given these responsibilities. And in as much as they will discharge their responsibilities, there are organs, there are also others that play also similar, because government does not spend, government spends through a channel. What is the channel? Some of these things are spent. When you go to Ministry of Niger Delta or you go to NDDC, these are part of the areas. You can see so many proliferation of contracts, which of course we are waiting for the forensic auditing or forensic investigation they said they are doing to ascertain what has been done with all the trillions of naira they've collected. But what I'm saying in essence is that if I'm in a community and the government have decided to give a contract for road construction, and that road construction is not done in my community, I think we have every right to challenge who the contractor is, or we go to those authorities that gave out this contract to know what is the fate of the road that you have given, how much have been expended. But nobody does that. We are very docile in terms of trying to find out what has been done in our communities.
Right.
It's not done elsewhere.
All right.
We're supposed to,
okay, Senator.
Yep.
So for me, I find politics too much for me to handle. So
when it came out, when it was reported concerning the petroleum bill, it was now reported that the northern members of, northern senators had, it made it look like they had all come together, almost like a gang up against the southern senators concerning this bill. And I'm wondering, there are party affiliations, you're from different parties. When it comes to something as serious as this, for a group of people who have said they need this particular percentage because of what their communities are going through, they're asking for this percentage because that's what their people are asking of them to ask from the House. Why doesn't the party affiliation work towards pushing that agenda? Instead, it seems like almost immediately there's a divide along north and southern senators.
I actually want to disagree with you because one person that I've also been looking forward to seeing how the oil-producing communities can be assisted to meet up the challenges. When you go there, there is no night, no day. I have been to Obagi, I have been to, because I have a stint with El Petroleum for some time, and I know the condition of all those areas. When you go, you see it's really devastated. And I don't see why the Northern Caucus will decide that let's gang up against the oil-producing areas. No, it's not true. I told you, whatever we did was we've been guided by the data and report from the experts and from the National Petroleum Corporation, because they are the key holders of these investments and they know where the problem is. And we did it in the pure interest of this nation. I can assure you that over time, they will bring for an amendment and we are going to amend it. But let's encourage the investors to come in first, and then we see how they perform, how the whole sector will be. And for the oil sector, I mean, for the communities, I'm telling you, nobody is against the communities having what they should. It's not only 5% from the production cost, I mean, production of the oil investors. There is also gas flaring. There is something they will take from the petroleum that is going to the market. Also, they are going to get certain percentage. So it's not all that. I think people need to study this thing and then make some kind of appraisal on what we have done instead of being sentimental to saying north and south. Why are we still talking about north and south? I mean, this is what divides us. This is what always creates a problem. This is what they say, oh, politicians. And majority of the people doing this thing are not the politicians.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we should have this country.
Let me come to you concerning the issue of restructuring. Nigerians generally agree there should be some kind of restructuring because they feel that at the time we came together as a nation, all stakeholders didn't really participate in the conversation. And they feel it's time for us to have a renegotiation of this marriage called Nigeria. Yes, we had a conflict during Jonathan's time, but we are having a lot of gridlock within the Senate. What are your views on restructuring?
Thank you very much. But you know one thing about the restructuring that we are talking about all the time, or the evolution of power we talk about all the time, is when there is either change of government, when it's closer to change of government, you hear people shouting about restructuring, devolution. I can give you a very good example. When President Jonathan was the president in this country, there was a national conference. And that would have been a very good opportunity for him to be able to say, okay, let's now devolve this country. But, I mean, if he hasn't done it, and then now, when Obasanjo was there for 8 years, he hasn't done it. Is it only when the president from a particular side of the country is there that people shout about devolution, about restructuring, about this, about marriage, or unintended marriage, about forceful marriage, about what have you? Look, we are a country. And if we want to move, we must remove those things that divide us away. We must shift them away and bring those things that can unite us by bringing some ideas that will build this country. I'm not against devolution. I'm not against restructuring. But what are we restructuring? We have representatives of the people. We have the House of Representatives. We have the state assemblies. We have the National Assembly. What are we talking about? We have representatives of the people. Whoever felt aggrieved, whoever felt that it needs for a change, let them bring up a proposal. And that is what we are doing with the constitutional review. Who is heading the constitutional review? Is it somebody from the north? The person heading constitutional review is somebody from the other divide of the country. So what are we talking about?
Okay.
I mean, when you ask those status, tell us what devolution of power is.
Okay.
You want certain things.
Let me get a few more
to
questions
be
in for you,
removed.
sir. Yes, go ahead.
Excuse me, sir. You say you're not against restructuring, but what are we restructuring? If you're not against it, then why are you asking what are we restructuring? And then you spoke about Jonathan.
No, you need.
Excuse me, let me finish.
You
spoke
to
about
tell us what
Jonathan
you want to be restructured.
and Obasanjo.
You need to define what you need to be structured. You
Okay.
need to define what needs
So
to
let
be
me help you in
structured.
defining,
You
sir.
don't just shout
Resource,
restructuring,
sir.
restructuring. What do you need to
Honorable.
be restructured?
Okay, Honorable Musa,
When
let us.
people are talking about
We're
state
having
police, state
we're
police
having
is
a
there now in the
conversation.
con-
Honorable Musa, no problem. I love this conversation because it's important that people like you engage people like us so that we have a clearer understanding. Because the objective is for us to help convey your message to the Nigerian people every morning.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
help me
Exactly.
understand. Our definition of restructuring is part of resource control, number one. The fact that devolution, we want state policing or regional policing. We want a situation whereby there's gender equality. We want a whole constitutional review that reflects us as a people. So when we say restructuring, it is quite defined. Even the Southwestern governors have somewhat been able to define what they mean as self-determination. So that is what restructuring means to a lot of people from the various regions of the country.
Okay, can I come in now?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, when you are talking about restructuring, I'm very happy that you defined some of the aspects of the areas you want to be restructured.
Yeah.
You talked about the state police, you talked about resource control, you talked about gender equality. These are areas that I believe today, when you ask any member of the Constitutional Review panel that we have, the Constitutional Review Committee we have, the special committee we have in the National Assembly, will tell you there are bills in respect to these agitations. And let me tell you, the beauty of democracy is you bring your demands, and people will table it. When they see reason to go ahead with it, they'll go ahead with it. If they see any reason to take part of it and amend, they will take part of it and amend. I can assure you the 9th Senate is doing the same thing. Omo Agege's led committee has tabled all these things in the subcommittee that we have, which I am also a member. And I know that we have deliberated, like the state police, already we have deliberated on it at the sub-level. And also the issue of resource control, where we're supposed to now talk about how much derivation will be increased. Was it going to be increased? Is it going to be reduced? Or what do we do? How do we reform it? How do we make it? And then we talked about also issues of agriculture. Is it okay for the federal government to maintain the issue of, taking agriculture? Is it okay for federal government to continue on road construction all over the country? These are areas, if the center is so strong, what do we need to do? All these things are already tabled before the Constitutional Review Committee. And when we are doing it this way, I think we have institutionalized the whole demands. Instead of people shouting and everyone saying we need restructuring, and nobody gives a definition of what they want.
Right.
But like what she said, I think these are three issues. The gender equality, I know of a legislator, a senator who has been fighting for that in the Senate, and she's also a member of this subcommittee. And I know that there are a lot of proposals on that aspect as well, whereby they are.
We have very little time, sir, and I want to get in more questions for you. So I can finish up.
Yeah,
Please go ahead.
Because
go ahead.
I didn't finish my question because you spoke about Obasanjo and Jonathan, and that is now because we have a president from another region. But two wrongs don't make a right. First of all, they did speak about it during Jonathan's time, and that was why he set up the National Confab. And now they're still agitating for it, and they didn't do it during election. They've been agitating for about 2 years now.
And that is the reason why we are doing it in the Constitutional Review Committee. That's why we are taking all these issues, and we don't have anybody interfering with what we are doing with our legislative activities. We are doing it without any interference, and we will do it. And we have representation from all the 36 states plus FCT. And I believe that we are all Nigerians, we are on the table, and we are coming out with something that Nigerians will believe. And then gradually, even the United States that have over 200 or 300 years of democracy, they are doing it bit by bit, and we are going to do it bit by bit. When we take this part today, we will not be there permanently. Some other people will come and we'll be at the side and we'll see what is going on. So I think it's a gradual thing.
Senator, please, I want to take us to security. One thing that everybody can agree on in this country, we might not agree on percentage structure, we might not agree on devolution of power, we might not agree on state policy, but we can agree that we have a major security challenge across the country. Your state has been plagued with several kidnapping of people in their schools, banditry. It is not just your state. While your state has been in the news negatively, many other states have been suffering from one form of insecurity challenge or the other. What would you say? Would you agree that our security apparatus currently has failed us? And what would you say is the right line of action? Can we agree on this one, on where we are going forward? How can we protect Nigerians? How can we secure more investors to come into Nigeria?
I agree with you absolutely that our security situation is very fragile. And this has been one of the things that I've been doing since the 2 years I have been in the Senate. There is no week that will pass without me putting a motion against one security situation or the other in this country. And I can tell you vividly, I'm a member of the governing party, APC. And I can tell you that I stood up to put a motion calling for a state of emergency on the matters of security in this country. Because, look, it is not about sentiment. It is not about you and I. It's about this nation as a whole. Our people are being killed daily. Our people have been attacked daily. Their livelihood have been destroyed. So many things. Little children have been kidnapped by hoodlums. So I can tell you that we are in the same page on the issue of security, and we believe that we need to resuscitate our armed forces and to make them more effective. Okay. We need to restructure in terms of areas of needs, because today we need technology to go in line with what we are doing in terms of security in this country. We need our policing system to change. We need community policing, just like you find in advanced communities, in advanced countries. Yes, I'm not against having a state police, but right. How do we manage a state police when national police has become even an issue in terms of investment? Right. When we don't invest in security, we don't invest in manpower development of this aspect, we are bound to have these issues. Technology must play a key role. And when we talk about technology playing a key role, that means we must have training and retraining of our personnel, both in the armed forces and the policing. So these are areas that the Senate has sat down
I have two more questions for you, sir.
Set up a ad hoc committee.
I have to run. Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so Senator, let me just take us back to Electoral Amendment Bill. So one thing I find displeasing really is that every time we talk about development or wanting to do something new, we throw the North as a cop-out. Oh, it's impossible in the North because there's no network. It's impossible in the North because we don't use phones. Why do we always seem to go that route? Instead of, the North is lacking in this. We need to work on how to provide the resources, the infrastructure, so that the North can be part of this process that is ongoing.
Okay.
You have also called out the people of the South, the Niger Delta, to hold their leaders accountable. We are also holding the Northern leaders accountable for the level of poverty, illiteracy, lack of healthcare, constantly, year in, year out, administration after administration is the same story.
I'm happy that you you are taking me on this. I will tell you, I happen to be a member of the Foreign and Local Debt Committee in the Senate. I happen to be a member of the Finance Committee in the Senate. And I can tell you that I know so much about what is going on in terms of communication because I run an ICT company. It was my company that introduced the first system of technology they are using in election management in Nigeria. So when you are talking about technology in the North or technology in the South, I will tell you vividly that yes, there's a problem there. When you are looking at the National Optic Fiber project that was laid, which sector of the country got it? You will need to go and do your research. And you cannot, when the infrastructure is not there, there's no way you'll be able to deploy anything. So when you are talking about North-South in terms of having communication, yes, because of the economic activities going on in Lagos, we need communication, we need technology very well. But if you look at it, the practicability of this internet connectivity across Nigeria is something that you need to observe, you need to know. Yes, we have 2G, we have 3G, we have 4G. Even in Niger State, which is very proximate here to Abuja, you can go to so many communities, so many local government areas. You cannot have data. You cannot have network.
Why? Why is that the case?
When we are talking about election, we are talking about real-time real-time commitment in bringing out all this solution at a particular time. When we are doing election is done within a particular.
Why have the governors not been able to bring economic activity to those states?
Wait, hang in there, because we have to cut off on this. We have just a few seconds left. But I heard that you're running to become the national chairman. Is that true? You want to leave the lawmaker work into partisanship. Why is that?
Let me tell you what is happening in this country today. Without a very strong and solid party, political party in this country, what we have today, without having a solid political structure, I'm telling you, even the governors, the people you produce as administrators, you produce as governors, will definitely fail you in terms of implementing what those parties' ideologies should be. And I'm telling you, without any mix of words here, what we are seeing today, if we have a very structured party like what we have in the United Kingdom and United States, I'm telling you, all the mess that we are facing today will not be there. Because, look, you must be held accountable. It is not when you have big posts, then you have big office. It shouldn't be the case. And this is the reason why we felt, look, the restructuring should not just be that, oh, I want to be. No. It's not you want to be. Go to the party that means well. Go and see how the party runs. We don't even do a bicameral conference in this country. We don't do midterm conferences in this country. We don't do anything.
Right.
So, I mean, our party structure needs to change.
Yes, we've run out of time. I think we enjoyed this conversation with you. We have to bring you back because you just raised another issue of party structure. And we have issues like ideology. People should be camping from here. So there's so much to talk to you about. We'd love to have, we need a part 2 with you, sir. Because I like the fact that we are getting information from you and we are understanding the perspective and mentality of many of our lawmakers. So it's good. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your time with us this morning. Baraka de Salah to you and your family.
I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to more challenges, especially for the other lady.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, that's all we can take on the show. Have a lovely day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.